Alright, hey guys, Cal with CalCarFax here. Today I am excited to bring you a 2007 Mk5 Jetta. Alright, so I guess we could start with a couple of exterior views here. Alright, so as we're looking inside the vehicle here, you can see relatively nice trim, a dual color system. You have a semi-power adjustable seat. It is perforated for ventilation. You can see you have a manual handbrake, gear selector. You have standard climate controls. You do not have dual climate control in this vehicle, nor do you have navigation. You have a very nice clear gauge cluster, of course the Volkswagen symbol, and you have full power locks around the whole vehicle. Stepping into the rear seat here, you can see the door is relatively large. You have a nice pleather material throughout. Again, you have power windows here in the back. A cup or a coffee mug will fit in the rear compartment here. As we go ahead and get in the vehicle now, you can see there's plenty of headroom. I am 5'7". My legs are comfortable. There's plenty of storage behind the seat. You do have air vents in the back, plenty of storage for a sun visor, as you can see. You can see this pleather material up close here in the corners. Rather large sunroof here. Definitely helps open up the cabin. Definitely a place you want to be. Alright, so taking a look at the wheels here, it does come standard equipped with 17-inch alloy rims from the factory. Again, if you come around to the front, you can see nice wheels. You can see the grade calipers in the back. We'll get onto the braking performance later. The tires were actually just replaced a couple of days before this video, so less than 100 miles on them. Alright, so turn on the air here, I'm burning up. Alright, so initial impressions of the interior. Well, I think you can definitely tell that it's not quite, it wasn't quite made so recently. It definitely shows its age in the tech compartment. And then, you're looking at this gauge cluster here, and very analog, I guess you could say that. There's not a real lot going on. You have your gas gauge, you have your oil temperature, your RPMs, and then your speedometer. And then of course you have this little text screen here that tells you the time, your miles, the trip, what gear you're in, and it will actually tell you, if you go into manual mode, it will tell you what you're in there. It is about 65 degrees outside, as I can tell there. Coming around to the cabin, or I guess the tech area, I would call it, the infotainment system. You have, I feel like what, is maybe a little bit excessive here in terms of buttons. It's kind of a lot coming at me. You have good old twist knobs, your windshield heater. This car is equipped with heated seats. Mine was on, which is probably why I'm burning up. You have your, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6 station, programmable radio. I've never really understood what this vent is for. You turn it on, it doesn't really blow air or suck in air. It's kind of useless. I know a lot of people will actually trade it out for a storage bin. You do have a CD player. Again, with its age, there's no Bluetooth, so that can definitely be a hindrance. And then coming around here, if you look at the gear selector here, you have your park, reverse, neutral, drive, and if you move it over to the right here, you can actually go all the way up to 6-gear manually. It only has 6 gears. Or of course you can go into automatic sport mode, which really will just kind of hang the RPMs. And something that's really cool about the Mk5 Jetta's transmission, this being Wolfsburg, I'm not sure if it comes on all Jettas with the S-tronic transmission. However, this Jetta, actually the transmission has this little computer that will kind of it'll try and mimic the way you shift. So if you drive a little bit more aggressively like I do, it will hold the revs longer, shift a little bit faster, things like that, to try and kind of imitate you. In terms of cup holder space, my coffee mug is not exactly small, and it definitely works. Of course, you have your old-fashioned handbrake. You do have a 12-volt here. A relatively large center console here. I wouldn't say it's too large, but it's enough, I believe. You do have, I guess you could call it ventilated seats, or would you call it perforated? You do have rubber mats that say Jetta. You do have an extra cup holder in each door here. You do have automatic one-touch down or one-touch up windows. You can adjust your windows here, side to side, up and down, as well as heat them. That's a cool feature. You just have your one set or one switch, headlight button. Of course, you can control the interior cabin lights with this knob here, make them duller or brighter. Your hazards are located here, and you are equipped with a sunroof. I would say it's not large, but I think it's enough. You can turn on all your cabin lights here. Of course, with this being a 7-year-old car, there are some buttons fading and things like that. You can see back here that this headliner here is fading. And that is due to partially owner care, but also just, about 8 years, or 2007, about 8 or 9 years here in just being old. You can see the rear seats are actually very comfortable. I would say anybody taller than 6 feet may not be comfortable in the back. However, the front of the car will be perfect for them. You do have a center armrest with cup holders in the rear, as well as an air conditioner down by the feet that really doesn't do much. So let's go ahead and get on with this review, and I can stop talking now. Alright, so taking off here, we're going to go ahead and stick it in drive. We'll go into sport later, and then we'll go into S-tronic manual. So let's see here. So it is a standard automatic. It is not a dual clutch. I would say that it's very easy to spatially know where your car is. There's no issues there. Let's see. So, initial impressions of driving. Well, so far the ride is nice. Again, the car just automatically locked its own doors. That's enough. Braking seems very strong. Let's see. So turn signal. So it does have integrated turn signals into the mirror housing here. Alright, so steering. Not heavy at all. Then again, we are moving. Coming to a quick stop here. Brakes are very quick, actually. You do kind of have a lot of turn lock here. Let's go ahead and go straight coming out of the neighborhood here. Shift into first. We're going to turn off traction control here, and we're going to make sure there's no traffic, and we're going to mat it. Oh, okay, very interesting. So there is a little bit of lag, so intuitively you would shift upwards, but then once the transmission catches up, you're actually in too high of a gear and you don't really have much torque. That's definitely something to notice. If you're considering buying this car or whatnot. Visibility out of the windshield is very good. No complaints here. There's no glare issues or anything like that. Let's see. Alright, gonna have to mat it there. Kind of cut them off a little bit. So plentiful torque, really. I mean, no issues with that. Go ahead and going into S mode here, it just automatically shifted up for me. Going around these corners, there is body roll, but then again, it's not a GLI, it's your standard Jetta. Even though it is a Wolfsburg edition, it did come with, some upgraded features. It's still not a GLI, it didn't come with the 2.0 turbo, and it also didn't come with the, I guess you could call it stiffer suspension, which I believe was carried over from the Mk5 GTI. I do believe that standard Jettas have this normal rear suspension, whereas the GTIs and GLIs have independent rear suspension. Long-term review. Have I had any problems with my Mk5 Jetta? Well, a common issue that I have had with, with both my GTI and my Jetta is that the coolant system. It can fail, it can malfunction, it cannot work efficiently. That is a common problem